Bundesliga predictions, relegation / promotion playoffs.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. The Bundesliga season is not finished.
Oh,
we've had a... No,
I thought you were going to say finished.
Not finished.
Tell me about these mystery games.
Somebody's put a giant slash through the season. They've said we need a relegation / promotion playoff. So the third worst team in the Bundesliga, Werder Bremen, will be playing the third best team in Bundesliga 2, Heidenheim. For those of you that can't do the math and figure that out, it is as convoluted as it sounds. Third worst versus third best, a division separating them. Americans would be having heart attacks over this sort of lineup. But before we get into this, I will say we've timestamped below because the first couple minutes, we're just going to really recap how the season ended. Me and Ian are going to go over every match and talk about how it possibly changed the league table. So, Ian, Bayern Munich smashed VfL Wolfsburg 4-0.
I'm not starting with that. My first question is, what the hell happened to FC Hamburger, and what the hell happened to my delicious tie?
Well, Hamburg decided to lose 5-1, as I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute, and they did not qualify for the playoff final on the final day when all they needed was...
That almost makes me want to talk about Bayern Munich. Yeah, go on, go back to Bayern then.
Right, Bayern won 4-0. How did that affect the title, the table? Did anything change from this match?
What it affected the table, Tom, is this was a really tight Bundesliga this season, which Bayern Munich won by 13 points.
Yeah.
And Wolfsburg, unfortunately, because of that hammering, missed out on Europe.
They did, so they dropped below Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim had a really good final day. They beat, I believe, second in the league, Borussia Dortmund 4-0.
Literally, Dortmund. I can't say this enough. Dortmund could not be fucked in this game. I don't think they cared. Literally, I'm sure the players weren't even wearing kit.
Is Jadon Sancho in a t-shirt and trousers? Yeah, just let him go. He's fine.
It was literally just like the perfect time for Hoffenheim to play this Dortmund side.
It's absolutely nuts. So that was a huge game. We then go to an RB Leipzig. They beat Augsburg 2-1. Did that have any bearing in the league, Ian?
It just cemented RB Leipzig into third place, which may have already been done before the game. But it was a nice send-off for Tino Werner, who scored 2 goals on his final outing. Nice final outing in the Bundesliga, but is he still going to be there when they play Champions League?
No. I was reading about this, so he can't play for either team in the Champions League.
Well, Chelsea are out.
Okay, so he can't play for.
So he can't play for
RB Leipzig. This is how long I haven't seen Champions League football for.
He can't play for any of the teams in the Champions League, so he can't just rock up at Atletico Madrid and say, "I fancy it today, lads."
Augsburg ended the season in 15th. They were pretty clear of a relegation point at that point. Mönchengladbach beat Hertha Berlin 2-1, and we're just really quickly going to tie that in with the match below. Bayer Leverkusen beat Mainz 1-0, but Leverkusen blew it at the end of the season, didn't they?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, I mean, both these sides, Gladbach and Leverkusen played Hertha Berlin. Hertha Berlin beat Leverkusen, but lost to Gladbach, and that deserved to be the defining score.
I think, from my personal opinion, probably from yours, both of these sides look like they'll be a lot of fun in the Champions League. They've got really young attacking teams. I would have rather seen Leverkusen. I think their style would have fit the Champions League really well, kind of possession-based, knocking the ball around and breaking teams up. But Mönchengladbach, Plea and Thuram, man, they'll be able to keep him next year, and this could be a really potent lineup in the Champions League next year.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Look forward to seeing them.
Obviously, Leverkusen will be in the Europa Cup with
Thomas, let's just say one thing, caveat, and sorry. Leverkusen still could get Champions League because they could win the Europa League.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen because they play that with Man United.
That's true. That is very true.
Mainz were safe from relegation due to the fact that for the final couple of weeks they came out with a bunch of wins, so this match really didn't mean anything to them. Let's talk about what I think is an upset. FC Union Berlin, FC Union Berlin beating Fortuna Düsseldorf 3-0.
It was the nail in the coffin for Düsseldorf. I mean, they've been getting by, scraping by in that playoff spot pretty much all the way since we've come back from lockdown. I don't think they've budged from that position. Drawing games, barely winning. and those games where they were leading and ended up drawing came back to haunt them because they fell behind to Union, and like so many sides, they just couldn't get back into it. And then Union sucker punched them. I will say that Dusseldorf were bringing their goalie up for corners from the 70th minute onwards.
My God.
Never seen that before.
Right, we have to get to this playoff final, so we'll quickly go through this. SC Freiburg beat Schalke 4-0. No one's surprised by that. Schalke end the second half, or the break from the break, without a win, a series of draws and losses. Will David Wagner still be there next year? Won't he? Who knows? Werder Bremen absolutely smashed 1.FC Cologne 6-1. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yep. And Eintracht Frankfurt got a sneaky 3-2 win over SC Paderborn. It won in predictions. But, it just proved the fact that Daichi Kamada's team is the greatest team in Germany. And Eintracht Frankfurt end in the top half in ninth. Ian, lead us in to the playoff/relegation. Playoff.
Werder Bremen versus Heidenheim?
Yep, so a little bit confusing. Not a lot of people have heard of Heidenheim, Ian. And in an effort to give a non-biased information out on this channel, I am going to talk to everybody about Heidenheim. We only have time for one video. If you look at our channel, you can see we've made way too much content in the last 3 months, and Ian's hands are literally red raw. There's blood coming out of his fingernails.
I'm so limp.
But we don't have time to do both legs, so we are just going to do an aggregate scoreline. But let me, as quickly as humanly possible, tell you about Heidenheim. They finished third in Bundesliga 2, despite losing the final match day 3-0. But that was more impressive because Hamburg, the team below them that needed just 1 point to overtake them on goal difference, managed to lose 5-1.
Wow.
They needed a point, Ian. A point. This Heidenheim side are third. They're third because of their defense. They have the second best defense in the league. If you rated them on offense, they come in at the 10th. It's really not a great team for scoring goals, and they have never played in the Bundesliga. In fact, as recently as 2004, they were playing in the 6th division of German football. They've been playing in Bundesliga 2 for the last 6 years. They've become a really competent side. But let me tell you some things, Ian, about Heidenheim. They come from a city with the same name in the southwestern German state of Baden-Württemberg, and stand in their current guise after 2007 separation from Heidenheimer Sportsbund, or HSB, a sports club of over 6,000 members and 27 different departments. In charge of the Voith Arena, where they play, with a maximum capacity of 14,000 fans, is club stalwart and hometown boy Frank Schmidt. He has been in charge of this football club for 5 years, longer than anyone else has been in charge of a football club in Germany. He ended his playing career with the club when they were still known as HSB. He made 112 appearances and scored 22 goals as a defender. Just a pretty good record. Despite achieving some fun stuff with them as a player, promotion would hands down be the pinnacle of his career. Now, we all thought Union Berlin were a small club, but quite literally, their ground barely fits Union Berlin fans. It would be the smallest stadium in the Bundesliga were it allowed. They were led this year by prolific goal scorer Tim Kleindienst. I think that's how you say his name. He had 14 goals, and he was crucial to the club's success. But much like a lot of these big men strikers we saw in German football, when the restart happened, he just could not find the net. He got 2 goals after the restart, but he is a 6'3" giant of a footballer. He was a Freiburg boy before he came down here, and he is the man leading the line. The club captain is Mark Schnatter. He's 34 years old, and he joined in 2008. He's a club hero amongst the fan base. He's now at just short of 350 appearances, and he is the linchpin at the heart of the midfield. He's played in 3 different leagues with the team, and the player to look out for in this match is 22-year-old Nicholas Dorsch. He's their playmaker, credited for the club's upswing into 3rd place this season after they finished 5th last year. He's player of the season last year, like I just said. He's completed the most passes in the league, as well as the most long ball passes in the league. He's also completed more tackles than any player in the league, and he's an ex-Bayern trainee, so he does come with a lot of class built in. Ian, I don't think they're going to win.
Thomas, can I just say, you've done a stellar job on these notes. A fantastic job. But the thing I can't get out of my head is, oh my God, Hamburg, how did you fuck that up?
It's Honestly, so Hamburg, by the sound of it, will be sacking their director of football, it sounds like, and they said they're going to have a serious look at themselves because they will now spend a third straight year in the second division. Having won the German Bundesliga before, they can't even play in it anymore. I think over the course of 2 legs, it's not going to go well for Heidenheim. They have a decent defense, but Werder Bremen's attack is so much better than they showed all season, and you saw that in their thrashing of Cologne. Like, if they want to, they can pour on the style. And I just don't think Heidenheim are up for it. I think their fan base is what's kind of helped them move up, just like with Union Berlin. They need that cauldron atmosphere of their 12 or 14,000 fans screaming them on. And they're not going to have that. It's going to be quiet as Josh Sargent, Bittencourt, and Rashica run rampant over their defense. I have a 5-1 playoff loss for Heidenheim.
It's hard not to see what Werder Bremen turning it on, especially because they are such a pedigreed side, and especially after what they did on the final round of the Bundesliga. Needing a win and hoping for Dusseldorf to drop points, things couldn't have gone much better for them, really. They won 6-1 against Cologne, and then Dusseldorf managed to lose 3-0 somehow to Union Berlin. I would actually say maybe Heidenheim. You know, we talked about Union Berlin and how they're fans and they're not going to have a good end, but they kind of got over that and worked it out, if you know what I mean. Like, that last 3 or 4 games, they were actually pretty strong, and they kind of, I think they ended up winning like 3 out of the last 4 games. So I would say that both sides are quite used to that now. It's not really going to be too much of a deciding factor. What the deciding factor is going to be is this Werder Bremen side is just too strong, and it looks like they've got Rashica back. It looks like Osaka's in form. Fulkrug, who's like been out injured all season, has started to come back and score goals. Sargent's always got hard work. Bittencourt's probably the best player out of all of them, and he hasn't even really been playing that much of late. Kofeld sort of pulled a rabbit out of the hat, really, and at the last minute, it all looked, after that Mainz game, they'd be dead and buried, and now it's looking pretty rosy for them that they might have sneaked their way of staying up in the Bundesliga for next season. So I think that I don't even see how. Oh God, Werder Bremen are so weird at the back as well, aren't they? You just don't know what you're going to get from. Whenever I back them to win, they look. I don't think I've got any Werder Bremen predictions right in predictions this season, and that's like 10 rounds now, and I think I've got all 10 wrong. So I might as well back them to win, and then hope Heidenheim do go up instead of them. I think Werder Bremen will come through. I'll go slightly different score from you, though. I'll go 6-3 on aggregate.
Ooh, that'll be a fun playoff at least. 9 goals, 2 games. I think, truthfully, we'd both like to see Heidenheim go up, and I think a lot of people in German football would like to see Werder Bremen go down. They were piss poor this year, and they're one of those clubs that you feel like if they get to stay in the league, it almost vindicates their actions this year for not seeming to care about anything.
Yeah, it's a massive get out of jail free card for them, isn't it, really? And I'm sure they've been using the term too good to go down all season. I just want to say one more thing. Would you like England to do this?
No, absolutely not.
No,
I think it's a
like
cop-out for Premier League teams.
But I prefer the idea of how we have it, where you have 4 sides in a playoff.
Yeah.
And the best side goes up.
I don't understand how the 3rd worst team in a division has to play the 3rd best team in it. I don't know why, but I feel like if there's going to be a relegation playoff, it should be the best team in a league has to play the worst team in a league, not this weird,
Yeah. I definitely think the way we've got it in England is a lot more exciting with the promotion playoffs.
Yeah, this feels too glued together, and if this feels very heavily based towards the Bundesliga teams. I did actually think about this looking at this table. I was like, so Heidenheim were 5th this year. I think they were like 8th the year before. And the league must feel so pointless near the end when you're like, well, we've got no chance of anything.
Yeah, it must be. That was the reason why they brought playoffs into English football. Yeah. Is because to give more teams more things to play for.
Maybe they'll do that because there's been a lot of noise of people not liking this. But Ian, that is enough from us. We've talked about this relegation playoff to death. Please like, subscribe. Thank you all for commenting. Thank you all for following. And those of you who are only fans of German football, we will see you next season.